Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time you're watching this. And welcome back to another instalment of the Obscure Britain series. Today's video, we are in Carlisle. I've never actually been this far north of England. And as I was meeting a friend, I decided to go and look around Carlisle and see what wonderful things it had in store. Carlisle is quite a lot smaller than I envisioned it to be. Knowing that Carlisle is home to a beautiful cathedral, I just expected it to be much bigger, but Carlisle is only considered a city because of this cathedral. Walking around Carlisle, there is some beautiful things to see. There are some beautiful buildings that have been reclaimed as banks and restaurants. There are also some beautiful buildings that are still standing that look like castles and churches. But when you walk through the main high street of Carlisle, I do feel that it's pretty disappointing. A lot of stores have closed down and there's just a lot of empty buildings. There was also, at the time that I went, quite a lot of construction in the main square, which I thought was very detrimental to the beauty of the main square. And I know they're doing something that's going to improve Carlisle, be that plumbing or electricity, but it did take up quite a lot of the open areas. There is also so many charity stores, and for some people, they don't really like to see that in a high street. I, however, love that because you can always get a bargain at a charity store. But just beyond the high street, there is a truly beautiful piece of architecture. Hello, good morning. Is it okay to look around? Is it okay to look around?
You certainly can. Can I give you a receipt picture?
Oh, I'd love that. Thank you.
Enjoy your visit.
Thank you so much. Have a great day. So I knew that Carlisle had a cathedral, and honestly, I didn't expect it to be so beautiful inside. It has one of the most incredible ceilings of any building I've ever seen. It was truly mesmerizing. It was a beautiful royal blue mixed with gold. It wasn't the biggest of buildings, but I think I have been spoiled by seeing Canterbury Cathedral first. I was so lucky though, as I was the first person in to view the cathedral that day. So I was able to, at my leisure, go around and film and take photos and truly take in all the wonder it had in store. I'm not a religious person in any way. If anything, I'm agnostic. But these buildings are truly magical. There was a very interesting museum beneath this cathedral as well. And because Carlisle is right on the border of Scotland and right next to Hadrian's Wall, there was a lot of history as well. And it was really great to see pieces of history encased behind glass. It was also really nice that you could film anywhere in the cathedral, which is something that we weren't able to do in Canterbury. There was also no fee to walking around the cathedral. However, they did ask for a donation if you were able to give one. So this day out can be completely free, or it can cost you as much as you're willing to give. In the same grounds, but across from the cathedral, is a modernised building. Within this building, there is a cafe, and as you walk in, you notice that the cafe is actually on the middle floor. On the bottom floor, there is entrance to a hall, which at the time that I was visiting was an exhibition of art. Unfortunately, I couldn't get into this room because the time in which I went to the cathedral was rather early, and so this unfortunately wasn't open yet. But I could go upstairs and see the Frattery Hall. I genuinely found this part so clever because it was a 14th century Frattery Hall that was connected to a 21st century cafe. And I absolutely loved that people could grab a coffee from downstairs, walk up and sit and enjoy it in this beautiful, beautiful hall. I think it's a very intelligent way to create money and therefore get the public to keep these buildings being looked after. You can also hire Frattery Hall with the cafe, and I just think that would make for a very beautiful event.
Is it okay to pet your dog? Oh, yeah, thank you.
Very friendly. So you can see.
Hello, lovely. You're the best. Thank you so much.
It's all right.
I seem to be very lucky so far when I go and look in different locations, because the locations that I'm interested in seeing all seem to be very close to each other. And this was no different in Carlisle. When you leave Carlisle Cathedral, You walk about 2 minutes down a very beautiful cobbled road, and you end up at the back of the Tullie Museum. Now, the Tullie Museum is consistently changing what it has to offer. There is always new exhibitions happening, which is also quite clever because normally there is about 4 different exhibitions, and 2 of those are at the back of the Tullie Museum, which is actually where I ended up first, thinking that was the main entrance, and 2 in the main part of the Tullie Museum, 1 upstairs and 1 below, which is very smart because you have to pay for each individual exhibition that you would like to see. It's such a shame as well that the back of the Tullie Museum was closed for renovation, because at the back of the museum it said that there was a pre-Raphaelite art exhibition, and that's something that I'm just personally very interested in, but it wasn't to be, and I will have to come back and see what they do in the future. The Tullie Museum were also showcasing a history of the local football team, and it wouldn't have mattered if that was my local football team. I cannot stand football, and so I was very lucky that they also had a Roman exhibition, which is the one that I decided to go and have a look at. Now, I was very pleased because this exhibition was £7, and I honestly didn't have very long before my train home. I had been up there all weekend and I basically just organised my time very badly for sightseeing. But I did manage to have a little walk around, and it was a really well put together showcasing of history. With anything that showcases what happened in a battle or a war, there is likely to be something of the macabre, but I did not expect to see a full-size skeleton. And there was something that also links us to true crime, which had me very invested. There was just this one little section of the museum that had a skeleton in a glass box. But it was a crime scene that had been recreated. Basically, they had found this skeleton at the base of a well, and they had been investigating into what had happened and who this person was. And basically, spoiler alert, they found that this person had been murdered. And you can stop this video and read the passages that are in front of the skeleton. They explain it a lot better than I ever could. But as we know, you and I are quite interested in true crime, so this particular piece of the museum spoke to me. And after sightseeing at the Tullie Museum, I did unfortunately have to make a very quick run back to my hotel and then go straight to the train station. I also do not recommend the Travelodge in Carlisle City. It's so unfortunate because the staff couldn't have been more helpful, but the quality of the room was pretty shocking. I did put in a complaint and they basically said, "What do you want us to do about it?" I absolutely have to come back to Carlisle. I want to see the Tullie Museum again. I really want to go around it in a much less stressed fashion. And across from the Tullie Museum, which I was heartbroken to have missed, was Carlisle Castle. So I will be back here, hopefully soon, to do a part 2 on Carlisle. I also desperately need to come back to this one shop that I found. It is incredible. If you can think of something obscure, it was probably in this store. But there is more of Carlisle that I do need to look at. I also really want to look at Hadrian's Wall, so please expect a part 2 in the future. But for now, that is all from me. I appreciate you so much. I love doing this series. I really hope to do all parts of UK, probably within the next few years. And I just want to give a massive shout out to my tiered Patreon members: Lawrence, Chris and Smalls, Louise, also known as Wife, Ben, Geraldine, Chelsea and Gemma. You make this Obscure Britain series happen, and I am so thankful to you. If you would like to join the Patreon, there is a link in the description below. But thank you all so much, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye for now.